Again, I'm Ulysses Leyva. Thanks for hanging on, you guys, to whoever is here left after that craziness. So I'm just gonna get back into it. One of the reasons why I was opposed to Proposition 16 was, I mean, just the very fact that I just can't simply agree with it in principle. I believe that it was our predecessors like Cesar Chavez and MLK who fought so hard for these civil rights in the first place. And I think voting away Proposition 209 is essentially going to be not just like a step back, but it's just going to be like a pretty much a stab in the back towards these American heroes. And I don't see how we can necessarily justify us removing these civil rights. And obviously, there's some political. I mean, there's some political attacks on civil rights currently, and it's just plainly obvious how Proposition 16 was created, and there's a lot of misinformation going around about it, about how we're going to be able to save Black and Latino students with affirmative action, and I don't believe that to be true because ultimately, and I can say this from my own just personal experience, going to an LAUSD public school system. The public school systems currently in California have gotten better over the years, but are not up to the standard in which we need to be. They're not up to the standards that we should be expecting, especially for a future economy where people are just going to have to get more educated and at large. It can't just be anymore that we're living in an undereducated populace. I mean, the scientific literacy rates, not just in the Latino community, but across all of America, it's pretty shameful. It is, and I graduated with a biology degree at UC Santa Barbara, and it always baffles me how people have a really limited scientific mind, and that can't be the case anymore, and especially not for a future economy where technology is definitely going to be even more apparent now than it is currently in its current form. Um, we need a greater educated populace, and we need to be able to improve these public schools. Um, and I came from a school that was, quite frankly, a pretty terrible, bad school, but it was actually just the average at what LAUSD has to offer. I came from an environment where the crime rates weren't like terrible, but I was surrounded by some areas that had pretty high crime rates, like Compton. I was Beneath my city was the city of Wilmington, and that's where a bunch of Latino gangs and the cartels are now setting up shop there, unfortunately. And east to me was also Rancho Dominguez, and Rancho Dominguez has also a pretty high crime rate amongst Black and Latino gangs, unfortunately. And I mean, I don't think any of this describe Compton to anyone here. Uh, and there's just a lot of things that I think if we prop up Proposition 16, uh, politicians are essentially in denial as to what the products of what we the people are being produced in the educational system. Um, I don't see how we can look at the literacy rates of both Black people and of Latino people and say, oh, these people are clearly college ready, like at mass, and it isn't just the fact that, and it's just the fact that we have civil rights that are just in the way essentially of them getting into college and stuff. When that's clearly just not the case. What the case is that we need better teachers. I had teachers who were, they were much rather just put on a movie and just let us, sit down in the classroom and just not instruct, not do anything, not saying to us that will like enlighten our intellectual curiosities. Um, and for me, like one way I can see that hopefully working out eventually is the weakening of teachers unions. Perhaps I think that's just one possibility where we can't be that protective of bad teachers. And I know that's teaching and being a teacher is supposed to be a secret sort of craft and career, but every time we produce a bad teacher and we put them in a system, especially in the communities in the Latino and Black community, we're not doing any service to the sanctity of teacherhood, and we're not going to do anything to better Latinos and Black people in California. Um, and yeah, and to me, like it's a symbolic fight, like it really is, because I don't see how we can say that. I don't see a logical explanation as to how by removing civil rights that we can somehow improve the lives of Latinos and Black people in California. And it's unjustifiable. It's just pure evil. It just is. Our peoples have worked so hard in the '60s, where racism was like rampant, for us to even get these rights in the first place. And I know that Proposition 209 has a different history, but it's the same idea. It was always the same idea. All they did was essentially just copy and paste the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and put it into Proposition 209 in 1996. It's just is no different. This is exactly the same thing. And if we lose Proposition 209, if you lose civil rights in California now, we're going to lose it in other states too. This is ground zero for state civil rights, and we can't lose it here. We absolutely just cannot. And that's all I got to say about that. Thank you.